Tom wiped the sweat from his forehead as his boots touched the broken floor of the alien ship. It was cold and quiet inside. Pieces of metal floated around, and the lights were dim. The ship looked like it had been attacked. Wires hung from the ceiling like vines. It smelled like burned plastic and dust. "Keep your come on, Tom," said Lena, his team leader, through the headset. "Yeah, hear you," Tom replied, walking deeper into the dark hallway. His job was to check for any survivors. The ship had been drifting near Moon Delta 4 for over a week. No signals came from it, and no one had answered the emergency calls. The crew of the salvage ship Starfinder had been sent to investigate. Tom moved carefully, pointing his scanner left and right. So far, there were only signs of fire, damage, and silence. Suddenly, his scanner beeped life signal detected. He stopped. The signal came from a small room ahead. The door was half open. Tom pushed it gently. The door creaked as it slid open just enough for him to step in. Inside, the room was quiet and dark. In the corner, under a metal table, he saw something move. Slowly, he walked closer, eyes flashlight. "Showed a girl know?" An alien girl curled up and shaking.
Audio.
She looked young. Her skin was pale blue, and her long hair shimmered like silver. Her clothes were torn, and her arms were wrapped around her knees. Tom knelt down. "Hey, it's okay," he said softly. "I won't hurt you. I'm here to help." The girl looked up. Her eyes were wide and bright like stars. She didn't speak. She just stared at him. Tom reached into his bag and pulled out a small energy bar. He placed it on the floor and pushed it toward her. "Food," he said. The girl didn't move at first. Then slowly, she took the bar and held it close. She still said nothing. "Tom, are you all right?" Lena's voice came through. "I found someone," Tom answered. "A girl. She's alive but scared. Doesn't speak. I'm bringing her back." Back on the Starfinder, the crew gathered around the medical bay. The alien girl lay on the bed, covered with a blanket. She still didn't talk. The ship's doctor ran a few scans. "She's weak. Malnourished. But no major injuries," he said. "Strange thing is, her body's reacting to our atmosphere well, almost like she was meant to survive in it." "Is she dangerous?" asked Mira, another crew member. "She hasn't done anything," Tom said quickly. "She's just scared." "We need to report this," Lena said. "This kind of find doesn't happen every day." Tom nodded but kept his eyes on the girl. She watched him closely, as if trying to understand his face. He smiled gently. "You're safe now," he whispered. That night, Tom stayed in the medical bay, sitting in the chair beside her bed. The others went to rest. The lights were low. He heard the soft humming of the ship's engine. As he began to doze off, he felt something move. He opened his eyes. The alien girl was standing beside him. Her eyes were glowing softly in the dark. "Are you okay?" Tom asked, sitting up. She didn't reply. Then, without warning, she reached out and grabbed his hand. "Hey, what are you?" he began. Suddenly, she bit him. It wasn't hard enough to hurt badly, but it surprised him. Her teeth pressed into his skin. He pulled back, holding his hand. "Ow, why did you—" He stopped. She was looking at him, her lips slightly open, her eyes wide. There was something in her eyes, something deep. It wasn't anger or fear. Looked like sadness, or guilt, maybe even regret. She didn't say anything. She just stood there breathing quietly. Tom looked at the bite mark. It wasn't bleeding much. In fact, it was already starting to fade. He looked back at her. "Why did you bite me?" he asked softly. Still no answer. She slowly stepped back and sat on the bed again, hugging her knees just like before. Tom didn't know what to think. His hand tingled a little. More than that, something else was happening inside him. He felt strange. Not bad, just different. It was like a connection had been made. He could almost feel her thoughts, not as words, but like soft emotions, brushing against his own. Was it her bite? He sat down again, watching her. She looked at him once more. Her eyes were still full of something he couldn't name. Then she closed them and curled up to sleep. Tom stayed awake, holding his bitten hand, wondering what had just begun. Tom woke up early, still sitting in the chair beside the bed. His neck hurt a little, and his hand where the alien girl had bitten him felt warm. He looked at it. The bite mark had almost disappeared. Only a faint red line remained, like an old scar. He turned to look at her. She was still asleep, curled up under the blanket, breathing softly. Her silver hair glowed. Faintly under the soft lights of the medical bay, Tom didn't understand what had happened. The bite felt strange, not painful, but it had done something. He could still feel that odd connection, like his thoughts were not just his own anymore. It was quiet but not empty. It felt like someone else was listening. He stood up and stretched. His legs were stiff. As he moved toward the door, he felt a small tug in his chest. It was quick, like a thread being pulled. He stopped and looked back. The girl was awake. She didn't speak, but her eyes were open and staring at him. She looked worried. Tom took a slow step back, toward her. "Do you not want me to leave?" She didn't nod or move, but her eyes said everything. He sat back down. Later that morning, the rest of the crew came in. Mira brought breakfast and placed it on the table beside the bed. The girl sat up slowly. She looked at the food but didn't touch it. She still hasn't said a word? Lena asked. Tom shook his head. No, but she understands. I think she hears us. She bit you last night, didn't she? Mira asked carefully. Tom nodded. Yes, but I'm fine. I think it wasn't an attack. You're being too kind, Tom, Lena said. We don't know what species she is. What if that bite did something to you? Tom didn't reply. He didn't want to scare them, but he already felt the change. His hearing was sharper now. He could hear faint beeps from machines 2 rooms away. His eyes caught small details faster. And sometimes, when he looked at the girl, he could feel a soft pressure in his head, like emotions gently passing by. She wasn't dangerous, at least, not to him. Tom spent most of the day with her. He started calling her Nira. He didn't know why, it just felt right. She didn't seem to mind. He talked to her, even though she never replied with words. I don't know if you can understand this, he said, but something's different now. I feel it. I think you do too. Nira looked at him, and her eyes softened. She slowly reached out and touched his hand, the same one she had bitten. Her fingers were warm and light. In that moment, Tom saw a quick flash in his mind, like a memory, but not his own. He saw a white room, bright lights, strange machines, Nira sitting in a glass tube. People, alien scientists, maybe watching her from behind a wall. He blinked and pulled his hand away gently. What was that? He whispered. Nira looked down, as if ashamed. That night, Tom couldn't sleep. He walked around the ship quietly. Every sound felt louder. Every light seemed brighter. He ended up back in the medical bay. Nira was still awake. She was sitting, cross-legged on the bed, her eyes watching the stars through the small window. Tom sat down beside her. I saw something today, he said. A lab. You were inside it. Was that real? Was that your memory? She didn't speak, but she turned her head slightly. Tom took a deep breath. I think your bite did something. I can feel your emotions. I see things when you touch me. Nira reached for his hand again. This time, he didn't pull away. As soon as her fingers touched his skin, another image flashed in his mind. A dark hallway, a creature with long limbs and sharp movements. A scream. Yeah. Then silence. Tom gasped and pulled back. There was something else on your ship, he said slowly. Something bad. Nira nodded very slightly. Is it still out there? She didn't answer, but her eyes filled with fear. Tom reported to Lena and the crew the next morning. I think Nira's ship was attacked, he said, and not by accident. Something else was there. Lena looked at him. How do you know that? I saw it in her memory. Lena raised an eyebrow. Tom, that's not normal. I know it's not, but it's happening. I don't think she means harm. Her bite did something. It connected us. Right? So you're saying she bonded with you? I don't know the word for it, but I can feel her when she's scared, when she's calm. I see flashes of her past. Lena looked serious. Tom, this could be dangerous. If something from that ship made it on board, I don't think it's here, he said, but we need to check. Later, as the crew scanned their own ship for signs of any threat, Tom returned to Nira. She looked at him with quiet eyes. I told them, he said. About the other thing? About the danger? She didn't move. He sat beside her. You can trust me. I want to help. But you have to show me more. If something else is coming, we need to be ready. Nira closed her eyes. Slowly, she placed her palm on his forehead. The images came faster this time. Flashes of pain, dark creature crawling from a broken tube, her people running, a lockdown alarm. Then her escape pod flying into space, Dash alone. Tom opened his eyes. They left you to die. She looked away. No, he said. Not anymore. Tom stood up, stronger now, more sure of what he felt. He turned to her. Whatever happens next, you're not alone. Nira looked up at him. Her eyes said everything. Still, she said nothing. Tom woke up feeling different. It wasn't just the bite on his hand or the memories he saw from Nira. Something deeper was changing inside him. His body felt stronger, sharper. He could hear tiny sounds across the ship footsteps, machines humming, and even the low beat of someone's heart when standing close. He didn't know if it was a gift or something else. But one thing was clear. Nira's bite had connected them. And now his life was tied to hers. As he sat on the edge of his bed, thinking about what to do next, his cum beeped. Tom, report to the control deck. Lena's voice said. Tom stood up and walked through the narrow hallways of the Starfinder. As he passed crew members, he noticed how distant they had become. Some gave him strange looks. Others whispered when he passed. He entered the control deck. Lena and Myra stood by the main screen. We scanned the ship again, Lena said. No signs of the creature you mentioned. But now we have another problem. She turned the screen toward him, showed a map of nearby space. There's a signal, she said. It's weak, but it's the same type as the one we picked up from Nira's ship. Tom leaned forward. You mean another alien ship? Mira nodded, or what's left of one. It's not moving, just like hers. Tom's heart beat faster. We need to check it out. Lena frowned. Can't risk another attack. Not without knowing what's out there. Tom shook his head. Can't leave it either. If that creature came from the other ship, it might be on this one too. Or worse, there could be survivors. Lena looked at him. You're not the same Tom? Tom met her eyes. No, I'm not. Later that day, Tom returned to the medical bay. Nira was sitting quietly, drawing shapes with her finger on the glass wall. I saw another ship, Tom said. Same as yours, it's floating nearby. Nira turned to him. Her eyes showed worry. He sat beside her. I know there's something out there. I saw it in your mind. The creature, you escaped it. But maybe someone else didn't. Nira lowered her head, then slowly reached out her hand. Tom didn't hesitate. He took it. A soft wave of emotion passed between them. Sadness, loss, then fear. She looked into his eyes. You want to go back? Don't you? Tom asked. Nira didn't speak, but her eyes said yes. Tom prepared a small scout ship. It was a two-person craft just big enough for him and Nira. He didn't ask for permission. He knew Lena wouldn't allow it. But he also knew he had to go. Naya followed him quietly into the craft. She had changed into a simple jumpsuit the doctor had given her. Her silver hair was tied back, and her face looked calm to her eyes. Held deep worry as the scout ship left the Starfinder, Tom sent a message back. I'll return soon. I promise. The trip to the floating ship didn't take long. Looked almost exactly like Nira's old one, same design, same damage. Its surface was covered in burn marks, and its lights were off. Tom docked the craft and opened the hatch carefully. Nira, stay close, he said. She nodded once. They stepped inside. The hallway was dark and cold. Dust floated in the air. Panels. On the walls were broken. Doors hung half open. No life scanned the area. No life signs. But there's movement. The lower levels. Nira touched his shoulder. Her fingers were shaking. Tom turned to her. You don't have to come if it's too much. But she stepped forward. She wasn't running from the past anymore. They reached the lower level of the ship. Tom held a light in one hand and a scanner in the other. Nira walked behind him. Suddenly, a soft sound echoed through the corridor. Tom raised his hand. Did you hear that? Nira froze. Her eyes widened. She pointed to a door on the left. They walked closer. Tom pushed the door open. Inside was a small room with broken glass tubes. One of them was shattered, just like in her memory. Something had broken free here. And then, a whisper. It wasn't a voice. It was inside Tom's mind. A cold, heavy feeling. Like something dark watching him. He stepped back. Nira grabbed his arm, pulling him away. Tom's head began to hurt. Images flashed quickly. Dark walls, sharp claws, screams. Whatever escaped. This ship, it was still alive. Tom and Nira ran back to the docked scout ship. The door closed behind them with a hiss. Tom locked it and checked the scanner again. No sign of it following us, he said, breathing hard. Nira leaned against the wall, her hand on her chest. Tom looked at her. You were right to be afraid. She didn't answer, but tears slowly rolled down her cheeks. Tom moved closer and gently wiped one away. It's not over, is it? Nira shook her head. Slowly, she placed her hand over his heart. In that moment, Tom felt something powerful, a bond deeper than before. Not just thoughts or emotions. It was like their hearts were now linked. He closed his eyes and saw it. A memory. Nira, standing in a white room, her people around her, scientists talking. She was chosen for something she didn't want. The bite wasn't just instinct. It was part of what they made her into. A key. A connection. A weapon against. The creature. Tom opened his eyes. You were made to stop it, weren't you? Nira looked down. He took her hand. Then I'll help you. We'll stop it together. She finally looked up. Her eyes were wet, but calm. Strong. The scout ship returned to the Starfinder. Lena and the crew waited. Unsure of what Tom would say, Tom stepped out and looked at them. There's something out there, he said. Still alive? Still hunting? Lena's eyes narrowed. What kind of thing? Tom glanced at Nira. Something made in the same lab she came from, but not like her. This thing destroys everything. It's not far, Ira asked. What do we do now? Tom stood tall. We prepare. Nira stepped beside him. No words, but her eyes spoke louder than any voice. The ship felt colder now. Tom walked slowly through the halls of the Starfinder, thinking about everything that had happened. Nira's memory still echoed in his mind, her pain, her fear, and the dark creature she had escaped. It wasn't just a threat to her. It was a danger to all of them. Tom stopped in front of the control deck door and took a deep breath. Then he stepped inside. Lena, Mira, and 2 other crew members were already there. Nira stood beside Tom silently, her hands folded in front of her. Everyone turned to look at them. We need to talk, Tom said. Lena crossed her arms. We're listening. Tom walked to the center of the room. The creature that attacked Nira's ship wasn't just some accident. It was created on purpose. He looked at Nira, then back at the others, and Nira was made to stop it. Room went quiet. No one said anything at first. Mira frowned. What do you mean, made? Nira's memories showed me, Tom explained. It was part of an experiment. They gave her some power inside her. That's why she bit me. It wasn't to hurt me. It was to share that power. Lena raised her eyebrows. You're saying you're connected to her now? Tom nodded. Yes, and through that connection, I've seen what she saw. The creature escaped. It destroyed her ship, and now it might be coming here. Another crew member, Ray, looked nervous. Can we stop it? Tom looked at Nira. She didn't move, but she stepped forward and placed her hand on the table. Faint blue light glowed from her palm. The tables. The screen turned on by itself. Everyone gasped. Nira's hand stayed on the screen. Slowly, strange shapes and symbols appeared. Then, a clear image formed an alien lab, the creature breaking free. Chaos. The room filled with silence again. "She's showing us," Tom said softly. "This is her message." Lena leaned in. "She has control over the system." "No," Tom said. "It's not control, it's connection." Her body, her mind, it's built to send and receive energy. Information. That's how she shares with me. And now with the ship. Nira lifted her hand. The screen turned black again. Lena looked at Tom. "So what do we do?" Tom spoke clearly. "We find the creature. We use the bond between me and Nira to track it, and we trap it before it finds us." Mira still looked unsure. "That sounds risky." "It is," Tom said. "But it's better than waiting for it to come to us." Lena looked at Nira for a moment, and nodded slowly. "All right, let's prepare." Over the next few hours, the crew made changes to the ship. They turned off unnecessary systems to reduce energy signals, hoping to stay hidden. They locked down empty sections and placed motion sensors throughout the ship. Tom and Nira stayed in the lab, trying to understand how the bond between them worked. "Can you feel where it is?" Tom asked. Nira closed her eyes. Her face was calm, but her fingers tightened. After a moment, she pointed to a screen and made a small circle with her finger. Tom checked the map. "That's near the engine room. But we've scanned that area." He paused. "Wait, what if it's hiding behind the walls, feeding on the ship's power lines?" Nira opened her eyes. She didn't need to say anything. Her expression said yes. Tom tapped the com. "Lena, it's hiding in the walls near the engine. We need to isolate that section now." Lena and Myra moved quickly. They sealed off the area and cut off power to nearby systems. Lights flickered for a moment, then went out in that section. Tom and Nira reached the engine corridor soon after. The hallway was dark, lit only by emergency lights. The air felt heavy. "Stay behind me," Tom said softly. Nira stepped carefully, her hand resting lightly on his arm. Tom's scanner beeped faintly. Movement, just ahead. Then a low humming sound filled the corridor. The lights began to flicker again. The creature was near. Suddenly Nira froze. Her eyes turned bright silver, and her body tensed. "What is it?" Tom whispered. She pointed to a panel in the wall. Tom moved forward and pulled the panel open. Behind it, cables were torn. Something had crawled through them, something large. A faint trail of slime shimmered on the surface. Then a loud screech echoed through the hallway. Tom turned quickly. Something moved in the shadows. "Run," he shouted. But Nira didn't move. She stepped forward instead. Her hands glowed. Tom watched as her body began to shine with a soft blue light. She closed her eyes and raised both arms. The creature growled. From the dark, a shape appeared, long limbs, sharp edges, and glowing red eyes. It crawled along the ceiling, watching them. Tom pulled out a signal flare from his belt and activated it. Bright light filled the hallway, and the creature dropped to the floor. Screeching, Nira stepped forward, her hands still glowing. The creature charged. Tom moved to shield her, but a burst of energy stopped the creature midair. Nira had raised one hand. A shockwave of blue light hit the creature like a wall. It screamed and scrambled back. Disappearing into the vents, Tom rushed to. "Nira, are you okay?" She was breathing hard, but she nodded. "You pushed it back," Tom said. "You protected us." She looked at him and touched his chest right over his heart. Tom felt a wave of warmth spread through him. Then, in his mind, he heard her voice for the first time, soft, almost like a whisper. Not alone. His eyes widened. "You can speak?" Looked away shyly, then nodded once. Tom smiled. "You're full of surprises." She gave the smallest smile in return. Back on the control deck, Tom told the crew everything. "It's on the ship now. It's hiding, moving through the vents, but Nira can stop it." We saw that, Liana asked. Can she destroy it? Tom looked. At Nira, she didn't answer, but she stepped beside him, her face calm. She tried, Tom said, and I'll help her. The ship was no longer safe. But now, Tom knew they had a chance. Not because of weapons, not because of systems, but because of Nira, quiet, strange, and brave, and because of a bond that had started with a single bite and grew into something more. The ship was quiet, but not peaceful. Every creak of metal, every flicker of light made the crew nervous. They knew now the creature was hiding somewhere inside the Starfinder. It was watching, waiting. Tom stood. At the front of the control room with Lena and Mira, Nira stood beside him, her silver hair tied back, her expression calm but focused. We can't fight it with weapons, Tom said. It doesn't attack like a normal enemy. It hides, moves, in the dark, and feeds on power. It's fast and smart. Lena looked at Nira, but she can push it back. Tom nodded. She already did. But we need to trap it if we want to stop it for good. Mira leaned forward. How? Tom turned to Nira. Show them. Nira reached out and touched the center screen. A glowing blue line ran down her arm and the screen lit up. A map of the ship appeared. She circled a large room in the lower section, an old cargo hold, Tom explained. We'll lure it there. The room has thick walls and only one entrance. We'll turn on the heating system and make it think there's energy there. Once it enters, we lock it in and cut power. Then, Nira will use her ability to hold it in place. Lena was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. It's risky, but it's the best plan we have. The crew got to work. They cleaned out the cargo room and set up energy lines to trick the creature. Nira helped Tom build small energy traps. Along the path, she didn't speak, but she understood everything perfectly. She worked with steady hands, always one step ahead. As they finished the last trap, Tom sat down on a crate, wiping sweat from his forehead. Nira sat beside him. He looked at her. Are you scared? She looked at him, then gently shook her head. He smiled. I am. Nira reached out and touched his hand. Her touch was warm. In his mind, he felt her emotions soft, steady, brave. You're not afraid for yourself, he said. You're afraid for me? Nira looked away, her eyes quiet. Tom spoke softly. Whatever happens, I'm with you. She turned to him and gave a small, gentle smile. Night cycle began. The ship dimmed its lights as the plan was put into motion. The fake energy signal was activated. The warm air in the cargo room would draw the creature in. The traps were ready. The doors were set to lock. Tom and Nira waited outside the cargo room, just around the corner. Mira watched from the control deck, her fingers ready on the door switch. Tom held a scanner in one hand. His heart beat faster with every second. Then dash movement the scanner beeped. Fast signal coming down the hallway. It's coming, Tom whispered. Nira's eyes glowed faintly. She stepped forward. Placing one hand on the floor, Tom watched as a soft blue light spread from her fingers across the metal. It was like a signal, silent message. I'm here. The sound of scraping metal came closer. The lights above flickered. Tom backed away slowly. Nira stayed in place. The creature came into view tall, thin, with glowing red eyes and sharp limbs. It moved like smoke, slipping through shadows. Its body shimmered like oil. It didn't see Tom. It was focused on the heat. Ahead, it slipped past them and entered the cargo room. Now, Tom shouted. Mira pressed the switch. The door slammed shut. Lights in the cargo room flickered, then went off completely. The creature screamed. Tom and Nira ran to the window on the side of the cargo door. They saw it trapped, thrashing, angry. It banged against the walls. Then Nira stepped forward. She placed both hands on the metal door. Her whole body lit up with blue light. Inside the room, the creature froze. It screamed again, but softer this time. Its limbs began to shake. Tom could feel her power. It wasn't just light, it was force. It's like energy from the stars being pushed through her body. Nira closed her eyes. Tom stepped closer. You can do this. He placed his hand over hers. Suddenly, he saw it all. The creature wasn't just made in a lab, it was created to destroy. It had no heart, no mind of its own, just hunger. It had escaped the lab during a test. Nira had been the only one who could resist it. That's why they sent her away. Alone, she had been made to fight it, to trap it, even if it meant losing her own life. No, Tom said out loud, not this time. He pressed his hand harder on the door beside hers. You're not doing this alone. Their energy joined together. The light grew stronger. Inside the room, the creature screamed one last time. Then it collapsed. Still, silent Nira fell back. Tom caught her. Are you okay? He asked. She nodded slowly, breathing hard. Miras, the voice came through the cum. It's not moving. It's over. Lord Tom looked at Nira. Her eyes were open, calm. He smiled. We did it. Later, the cargo room was sealed completely. The creature's body was left inside, cold and lifeless. The crew agreed not to open that door again. Tom and Nira stood outside the window. Looking in, I saw everything, Tom said. Your past, what they did to you. Nira was quiet. They left you to fight alone, he continued. But now, you have us, have me. Nira looked at him, then she spoke again, soft but clear. Thank you. Tom smiled. I should thank you, he said. You saved all of us. She took his hand, and for the first time since he found her in that broken ship, she didn't look sad. For the first time in many days, the ship felt quiet. But it was. Not the kind of quiet that meant peace. It was the kind that held a question. Is it really over? Tom sat beside Nira in the medical bay. She was resting. Body was tired from using so much energy. Her hands were cold and her eyes were closed, but her breathing was calm. She had pushed herself to the limit to stop the creature. The rest of the crew stayed alert, taking turns checking the sealed cargo room. Myra placed motion sensors, while Ray kept scanning for power shifts. Everyone hoped the creature was truly gone, but no one was fully sure. Tom hadn't left Nira's side, not even for food or rest. He gently held her hand and whispered, You were so strong. I saw what you gave up just to protect us. As he sat there, he remembered the moment she first bit him. Back then, he didn't know anything, he thought. It was just strange, alien behavior. Now he understood. That bite had saved him. It had created a connection between them, one that helped both of them survive. Hours passed. Then, late into the ship's night cycle, something changed. The lights flickered again. Tom stood up fast. The intercom crackled. Myra's voice came through, panicked. Tom, the cargo room? Something's moving again? Tom's eyes went wide. He looked at Nira. Her eyes opened slowly. She sat up with effort. No, Tom whispered. You stopped it. Head slowly, her lips moved. Not alone. Tom blinked. Not alone. What do you mean? But he knew the answer even before she said more. There wasn't just one creature. Tom ran to the control deck. Nira followed, still weak, but steady on her feet. Mira showed the screen. There's another signal, she said. It's coming. From inside the cargo wall like it was hidden before. Tom stared at the moving red dot. It was active. It was moving toward the power core. Lena entered the room. What's going on now? Tom answered. There was a second one. We didn't. No. It stayed quiet while the first one attacked. Nira stepped forward. She placed her hand on the screen and closed her eyes. The red dot paused, then began to move again. She's trying to talk to it, Tom said. Lena frowned. You mean, connect? Nira nodded. But this creature was not like the first one. It didn't pause. It didn't hesitate. More dangerous. Maybe it had learned from the first one's failure. Tom looked at Nira. Can you stop it? Shook her head slowly. Not alone, she said again. Tom understood. This time the connection had to go deeper. I'll help you, he said. Without waiting, he took her hand and closed his eyes. In an instant, their minds joined again, but this time stronger than ever before. Tom saw flashes of memories. Early days in the lab, scientists talking, creatures in glass cages. She had watched as they trained her to connect with them, to stop them, but they had lied. They told her she was saving lives, but really they were testing her limits. And now, her final test had come. Tom opened his eyes. We need to lead it into the power core. It wants energy. That's what it's after. Myra looked unsure. Isn't that dangerous? Lena answered. Very. If it feeds on the power core, it could destroy the whole ship. Tom nodded. Exactly. That's why we stop it there. The plan was quick. NIRA and Tom would go to the power room and wait. The energy would attract the creature. Once it entered, Nira would connect with it, hold it in place, while Tom triggered the emergency power shutdown. Without energy, the creature would weaken. But there was one problem. Using the emergency. Shutdown meant power to the whole section would be cut, including life support. Lena placed a hand on Tom's shoulder. Are you sure about this? Tom looked at Nira. Yes, we have to finish this. The power room was hot and loud. Machines hummed, lights blinked, and energy pulsed through the thick cables. Nira walked to the center and placed her hands on the floor. Her body began to glow faintly again. Tom stood by the control panel, ready to shut the power down. Then, the room became quiet, too quiet. Tom felt it. A cold wave in the air. The creature arrived. It was bigger than the first. Its body shifted like liquid metal. Its eyes were not red. They were pure black. It didn't crawl like before. It walked slowly, calmly. Nira stood up and faced it. Tom shouted, Nira, now. She raised both hands. Blue light shot out from her body. The creature stopped. It screamed not with sound, but inside their minds. The walls shook. The lights flashed. Nira took a step forward. Her eyes were glowing bright. Tom felt the pressure grow. It was like standing in the middle of a storm. Almost there, said Nira, screamed out in pain. But in strength, Tom hit the emergency shutdown. The lights died. Machines stopped. The room went black. Only Nira's glow remained. The creature tried to run, but it was too late. Without power, its body slowed. It fell to the ground. Shaking, Nira stepped over it. Her light grew stronger. She placed her hands on its chest. Then, silence. When the emergency power came back, Tom opened his eyes. The creature was gone. Its body had melted into dust. Nira stood. Alone in the middle of the room, breathing hard, Tom ran to her. You did it. She smiled weakly, then fell into his arms. Later, in the medical bay, Nira rested again. This time her face was peaceful. Lena entered quietly. You two saved us. Again, Tom smiled. It wasn't just us. It was her. Lena nodded. Tom looked at Nira. We were stronger together, Lena asked. Is it really over now? Tom nodded. Yes, both creatures are gone. Lena sighed. Good. Then maybe we can finally go home. That night, as Tom sat beside Nira's bed, she opened her eyes slowly. He smiled. You scared me again? She gave a soft laugh. Then she whispered something new. I'm not alone anymore. Tom took her hand. No, he said. You never were. 3 days had passed since the second creature was destroyed. The Starfinder floated safely in deep space, heading back toward the main station for rest and repair. The crew worked quietly, but their moods were lighter now. The danger was gone, and everyone felt like they could breathe again. Tom sat on the observation deck with Nira. The wide window in front of them showed stars stretching far into the distance. Everything looked peaceful, now quiet, soft, and safe. Nira was dressed in a new uniform, simple and clean. Her silver hair was brushed neatly behind her ears, and her skin looked brighter than before. She had healed well, and even her eyes looked different. There was no more fear in them. Tom smiled at her. It's beautiful out here. Nira looked at the stars and nodded. He continued, I used to come here when I couldn't sleep, but now this feels different. She turned to him. Different. How? Her voice was still soft, but stronger than before. She had been speaking. More each day, learning his language, learning his world. Tom thought for a moment. Before I looked out here and felt alone. It's like I didn't belong anywhere. But now, I feel like I'm part of something bigger. Nira looked at him gently. You are? Later, the crew gathered in the main room. Lena stood in front of everyone, holding a small report pad. I want to thank all of you, she said. We made it through something no one could have expected. We faced not just one threat, but two. And we survived because we worked together. She looked at Tom and Nira, and because of them, crew clapped softly. It wasn't loud, but it was. Real Lena continued. We've sent a full report to command about the creatures, about the lab that created them, and about Nira. Nira stood beside Tom. She didn't hide anymore. Lena looked at her with respect. You were made for something terrible, but you chose something better. You chose to protect. Nira nodded quietly. Ray spoke up from the back. So, what happens now, I mean, to her? Everyone turned to Tom. Tom glanced at Nira. She's not going back to any lab. That part of her life is over. She chooses her own path now. Smiled. That's right. Command agreed. Nira is free. No more cages. No more experiments. Mira added. She's one of us now. The crew nodded. Tom looked at Nira. You're safe now. Go wherever you want. Down. For a moment, then lifted her head. Then I stay. Tom blinked. You want to stay with us? With you, she said quietly. If that's okay? Tom couldn't stop smiling. It's more than okay. Over the next few days, Nira began to learn everything she could. About human life, how the ship worked, how the food was made, how the stars were mapped. She asked questions, watched closely, sometimes surprised the crew by fixing systems no one else understood. She even helped the engineers repair a broken part of the power core. Her hands glowed just enough to restart a failing system. She's got talent, Myra joked. Tom laughed. She's got everything. One night, as they sat in the quiet of the observation deck again, Tom turned to Nira and asked, Do you miss your home? Nira looked out at the stars. I never had one. Not really. The lab was just walls and rules. I was made to follow orders. But you didn't, Tom said. You saved us. You chose to fight. Nira nodded. Because I met you. Tom looked. At her? Why did you bite me that day? Was it part of your training? Nira thought for a long moment. No, she said. Alone, but you didn't run. You didn't shout. You gave me food. You sat near me. That's why. Was quiet. I felt something in you, she added. Something kind. So I took a chance. I shared part of myself with you. And it changed everything, Tom said. Nira reached out and took his hand. I don't want to lose this, she said softly. Tom held her hand gently. You won't. Not ever. When the Starfinder reached the station, a group of officers came to greet them. They asked questions, checked the report, and thanked the crew. But when they saw Nira, many of them stared. Some were curious. Others were unsure. One officer said, We've never seen anything like her before. Tom stepped in front of her. Then it's time you learned. The officer looked at him. What are you now? Tom smiled. Still human, just connected to something better? The officer nodded. We'll want to ask more questions later. That's fine, Lena said. She's not a prisoner. She's part of our crew. In the weeks that followed, Nira became known among the other crews at the station. She didn't speak much, but people liked her. She helped repair damaged ships. She used her light to help tired systems recharge. Slowly, others began to trust her, and she smiled more. She laughed sometimes, too. Tom stayed by her side. They walked together, worked together, and sometimes just sat in silence. But their connection never faded. In fact, it grew stronger every day, not just through energy, but through understanding. One evening, as the stars stretched across the sky outside the window, Nira turned to Tom and asked, What will we do now? Tom thought for a second. We'll live. She looked at him, waiting. We'll go to new planets, he said. We'll meet more people. We'll help those who need it. Together, Nira nodded. And if more creatures come, she asked. Tom squeezed her hand. Then we'll face them. Just like before, Neera smiled. Together, she whispered. Tom leaned back, looking out at the stars. For the first time in his life, he didn't feel lost, he felt found. The end.